To begin an umbrella quote, you must start from within a customer. To search for a customer, enter the last name in the search field. Here you will see a listing of all the quotes for that certain customer. Click on one of the quotes, and then in the insured section over here, select the hyperlink with the insured's name. We are now in a customer. From here, you can select New Quote. Enter the effective date of the quote, and enter the state in which you will be quoting. You will now see Umbrella as a product offering. Select Umbrella. The first screen you will see are our knockout question screen. Answering any of these adversely will knock the quote out. Please review each question and answer the question accordingly. Move to the next page by selecting Next Page. This will now bring you to the policy chevron. Because you came from within a customer, we already know everything about this insured. No information has to be completed here, but please review to confirm accuracy. Once you have finished reviewing, select Next Page. This is the only page you will need to fill out to receive a premium. First, choose your limit or retention. Next, choose your deductible. Select the number of autos that you would like to cover that are owned or leased. If there are any autos furnished for regular use, a full definition can be found in the question mark. Select how many autos furnished for regular use. Select how many number of autos to exclude. And finally, select how many youthful operators, which is defined as anybody 25 or less. Next, let's look at the number of properties. Once you've selected the number of properties, we'd like to know how many are rented to others and how many are not rented to others. Next, choose any recreational motor vehicle exposures. Choose any watercraft exposures. If you choose yes, we ask for the number of sailboats, number of outboard, inboard, or inboard, outboard drive 26 feet in length or 26 feet and over. Note this is state dependent and may look a bit differently depending on what state you are quoting in. Finally, please answer the business pursuits question. In this state, we ask for number of teachers, number of clerical employees, and number of salespersons. This does vary by state. Finally, if the auto is controlled within your agency, please apply the auto-controlled companion discount. At this point, you may press save and you will have a premium returned. Your premium is $250. If you would like to print the quote, please navigate to the Review chevron and select the Print Quote button under the Actions toolbar. To move to the application phase of the umbrella quote, select Create Application. You may now navigate through, select Underlying Information, and add underlying information for each exposure shown. So if I go back to the umbrella coverage, I have 2 properties and 2 autos and nothing else. So on the underlying information, I'm going to add a policy. And first I'm going to select my property policy and press Continue. I can look up my policy number and select the policy number, and all information is already pre-filled. Coverage for business pursuits and any swimming pool or hot tub on premises. Press Save and press Return to Underlying Information. I now have 1 exposure. I also said I had another rented policy. So I'm going to add TPC policy. I'm going to add a non-TPC property policy, the policy number, the effective date, and the carrier. Finally, the liability limit. Press Save. Return to underlying information. We now have a policy and we need to add our exposure related to the policy. So our exposure I'm going to press Save and return to underlying information. I now have my exposure for my homeowner's property, and I have exposure for my second property. I now need to add my auto policy, to add my policy number, the effective date, the carrier, whether there's split or combined limits, what those split or combined limits are, and if there are any unlicensed vehicles. Press Save, hit Return to underlying information. We now have our automobile policy. We need to add our 2 exposures under that. Hit Save, and because I have 2, I'm going to hit New Exposure. Hit Save on this one, and hit Return to underlying information. I now have my 2 automobile exposures. Select Next Page. Add any drivers or non-drivers. As a driver, the first one will know who you are, or who you are quoting, since we are going in from within the customer. Select the driver status, the gender, the marital status, an occupation, the date they were licensed, the license state, the license number, and whether they have a permanent license. Press Save. You may add new drivers, or you can convert them to a non-driver. Hit Return to Drivers once you are all set. Hit Next Page. Here you will see any A+ loss history that have been returned. Hit Next Page to add any additional interests. Finally, hit Next Page to select a pay plan. You may connect this to an existing statement account, or you may put this on its own account. The choice is yours and the insured's. At this point, press Print Application. The copy of the quote and the application will appear. You may print this or save this, and go back, select Finalize Transaction, select a down payment type, and note that all umbrella applications will be unbound and will be submitted to underwriting for approval, so simply select the Submit for Approval button at the bottom.